Michael Vick's name will forever occupy a strange and uncomfortable place in American sports history. For some, it still conjures images of jaw-dropping athletic brilliance, a quarterback so fast and so explosive that he rewrote what was possible at his position. For many others, however, his name is inseparable from cruelty, criminal behavior, and a series of controversies that didn't begin or end with the scandal that sent him to federal prison. Vick's story is not just about one terrible crime. It is about those years of questionable decisions, those repeated warnings ignored, and that long shadow that follows a public figure whose actions crossed a moral line that millions of people believe should never, ever be forgiven. Long before the most infamous chapter of his life came to light, there were already signs that Vick's off-field behavior was becoming a problem. As a young superstar with the Atlanta Falcons, he was surrounded by friends and associates from his hometown, many of whom quickly became liabilities. In 2004, law enforcement arrested two men for marijuana distribution after stopping a vehicle registered to Vick. While he was not charged, the incident prompted Falcons management to confront him about the company he kept and the risks that came with it. That same year, another embarrassing episode unfolded at Atlanta's airport when members of Vick's entourage were accused of stealing a watch from a security screener. Again, Vick avoided direct legal consequences, but the pattern was becoming difficult to ignore. By now, it truly was looking like trouble seemed to follow him, even if he was not always the one leaving in handcuffs. Those early controversies, minor by comparison, now read like warning flares that went unheeded. Behind the scenes, something far more disturbing was taking shape in rural Virginia, on property Vick owned in Surry County. In 2007, while investigating a completely unrelated drug case, authorities stumbled onto evidence of an organized dogfighting operation known as Bad News Kennels. What they found horrified even seasoned investigators. More than 60 pit bulls were seized from the property, many bearing scars, wounds, and injuries consistent with organized dogfighting. Equipment used to condition dogs for violence was discovered, along with structures designed specifically for hosting dogfights and records indicating gambling activity. This was not a case of ignorance or casual association. Federal prosecutors determined that Vick was not merely present, but deeply involved. He financed the operation, provided the property, handled gambling proceeds, and participated in the execution of dogs deemed unsuccessful or unfit for fighting. The details that emerged in court filings and testimony were deeply disturbing. Dogs were drowned, electrocuted, beaten, shot, or hanged. The revelation that a global sports icon had knowingly participated in this level of cruelty shocked the nation and ignited outrage far beyond football. In July 2007, Vick was indicted for federal felony charges related to conspiracy to engage in interstate dogfighting. Initially, he denied personal involvement, attempting to distance himself from the worst allegations. But as evidence mounted and co-defendants agreed to testify, the truth became impossible to escape. In August 2007, Vick pleaded guilty, admitting his role in the operation and acknowledging that he had helped kill dogs. The admission shattered any remaining goodwill he had with the public.
The consequences were swift and devastating. A federal judge sentenced Vick to 23 months in prison. The NFL suspended him indefinitely without pay, and Commissioner Roger Goodell publicly condemned his actions as cruel and unacceptable. Endorsement deals vanished almost overnight. Nike, Coca-Cola, and other major sponsors severed ties, and Vick's financial empire collapsed so completely that he eventually filed for bankruptcy. His fall from grace was total. From one of the league's most marketable stars to a convicted felon and a symbol of animal cruelty. Public reaction was intense and deeply emotional. Animal welfare organizations described the case as one of the most high-profile examples of extreme abuse they had ever encountered. Fans burned jerseys, protests erupted outside stadiums, and for many Americans, Vick's crimes crossed a moral threshold that could not be erased by time served or apologies offered. Even as he entered prison, the debate raged. Was this simply a talented athlete who made horrific choices, or someone whose actions permanently disqualified him from admiration or forgiveness? When Vick was released from prison and later reinstated by the NFL, controversy flared all over again. His signing with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2009 triggered protests from animal rights activists and furious backlash from fans who believed the league was prioritizing talent over accountability. While Vick spoke publicly about remorse and participated in some animal welfare initiatives, skepticism remained widespread. To critics, his contrition felt reactive, something expressed only after exposure and punishment, not before. On the field, Vick's success complicated the narrative even further. His strong performances and eventual Comeback Player of the Year award reignited debates about redemption in professional sports. Each touchdown, each highlight run was accompanied by renewed anger from those who felt his continued success minimized the severity of his crimes. His career after prison never escaped the shadow of bad news kennels, no matter how well he played or how carefully he spoke.
Even years after his retirement, Michael Vick continues to spark controversy simply by association. His legacy remains so toxic to some that wearing his jersey or publicly praising him can trigger backlash. In 2025, when Cardinals quarterback Kyler Murray posed in a Michael Vick Virginia Tech jersey alongside his dog, the reaction was immediate and fierce. Fans accused Murray of being insensitive and glorifying someone convicted of extreme animal cruelty. The photo was deleted and an apology followed, a clear indication that Vick's past still carries real cultural weight. Vick's post-playing career has done little to fully quiet criticism. His move into coaching, including his tenure at Norfolk State, has been marked by instability and scrutiny, with reports of internal turmoil and assistant coaches being fired during a losing season. While not criminal, these episodes continue to feed the narrative that controversy follows him wherever he goes. To this day, online forums, animal rescue communities, and advocacy groups regularly revisit his crimes, warning against softening history or reframing his story as a simple redemption arc. For many, the cruelty revealed in 2007 remains unforgivable, regardless of time passed or apologies offered. His case is often cited whenever discussions arise about whether athletes are held to different moral standards or whether fame and talent allow some people to recover reputations that ordinary individuals never could. Michael Vick's story is not a neat tale of downfall and redemption. It is a messy, deeply uncomfortable account of extraordinary talent intertwined with horrific choices. His controversies are not footnotes, they are defining chapters, filled with real victims and lasting consequences. No matter how often his name is invoked in conversations about second chances, innovation at quarterback, or personal growth, it remains impossible to separate his football legacy from the brutal reality of what he did. For millions of people, that reality will always outweigh the highlights, ensuring that Michael Vick's name remains one of the most controversial and divisive in the history of American sports.